Hello folks, welcome to your weekend. We are here again to do some more hobby talk, some more hobby advice. This is a bit different to Hobby Nightmares. Quite a lot of the time I get quite a lot of emails and messages coming through talking about general things in life and general things that people want help with that don't really fit into the Hobby Nightmares sphere. And whenever I do bring them up in Hobby Nightmares, people tend to get a little bit annoyed because they like listening to their Hobby Nightmares whilst they're doing other things. And me giving real life advice sometimes knocks them out of that little grind that they've got themselves into in listening to the channel. So, I figured a weekend would be a good time for us to chill out with a nice cup of tea or beverage, whatever you've got, and we will talk about whatever's going on in the hobby at the moment that's annoying you, or anything that you need help with or you need to talk about. You can come to me, and I swear, the sheer amount of you who do message me and talk to me about these things and I can't get back to you for weeks on end, I try and get back to the crisis situations as quickly as I can, but I'm not a licensed therapist and this isn't my job at the end of the day. So I do it as quickly as I can. I just think this would be a better way of me umbrella answering a lot of those questions, if you know what I mean. So, here's what I propose. Every week, there will be a subject to talk about over on the Patreon. The link is down below, where you guys get to talk about a theme of the week with me. This week, it was relationships in the hobby. So you get to message me back and forth. We can go on the Discord and talk about it there. And we can generally go over things that we would like to have in a video, and I will make the video at the end of that week. At the end of that week, folks on Patreon get access to our video on that subject a little bit early, as a thank you to me to being on the Patreon anyway. And the rest of you will be getting it in the following week at some point. Apart from this week, however, this week you get it the day after, so I can get us really going on our first subject, which is relationships and dating in the hobby. So, if you want to suggest questions to answer or talking points to bring up in any of these videos, if you've got something that you really want me to talk about that is not strictly hobby related but more life in the hobby related, head on over to Patreon and say hello. Lastly, this advice that is stuff that comes from the heart and generally brings up my own experience and thoughts. If you are offended by that, well, tough. I'm not a licensed therapist, but I will give my honest opinion on things from a place of good faith. And I'd like to be listened to and talked to in the same way. I know that's going to be falling on deaf ears with some of you, fair enough, but at the end of the day, I'm just here to give you a little bit of advice and to move on with our lives from there on in. You don't have to be on the Patreon to message me, by the way. If you, again, any crisis emails that I get, I always read the first half of emails and I either put them in the I will answer this later category because it's not urgent, or I put it in the urgent category of this person needs my help right now, and I get back to them straight away. Some people catch me on a good day where I just have nothing to do and I've got the mental capacity on my lunch break or whatever I'm doing to answer back because you messaged me there and then. But most of the time, I do struggle to get back to you. So I will get back to you eventually. Whatever message you send to me, I will eventually get back to you. So please don't treat this as a cop-out of me talking to you in terms of messages. That's not what this is. This is just me answering those questions, if you need them answered, in a way that you can engage with whilst you're making your tea or your coffee or whatever. So, first of all, let's talk about relationships. And by relationships, I of course mean relationships in the hobby. And all of my advice generally will be towards guys, because guys are the ones who message me mostly about things like this. I can name the girls who've given me messages asking about advice on one hand, generally. And I'm not the best person to go to be honest with you, for knowing how to attract a guy. So the first thing I get asked a lot is, how the hell do I go about getting a date when I'm in the hobby sphere? When I am a hobbyist and I don't want to look like a creep, I don't want to look like the guy who is hanging around all the women at the store all the time, annoying people. Well, here's the thing. You want to be friends first, and you want to set yourself apart by disqualification. What do I mean by that? So, first things first, you are there to take part in a hobby. You are there to make sure that you are having a good time. So you should be going into hobby scenarios actively looking for a partner. That way lies frustration. What you need to do is go and build yourself a hobby community that you love being a part of, and by association, people will start to gravitate towards you. When I say set yourself apart by disqualification, know in your own mind that you are not there to meet anybody. You are not there to meet your wife, you're not there to meet a girlfriend, you are there to have fun. As soon as you do those things, half of the smell of desperation that is on you will dissipate immediately. There's one thing that women know and can sense from several rooms away, and British women are very much guilty of this. They can sense desperation and ulterior motives from several rooms away. And that is a thing that I think most people haven't learned to master, because we're trying to make sure that you have self-worth and you're not being that guy. You're not being the guy who's going in there, seeing a woman and thinking, now's my chance. No, go in there, see a model on the tabletop and think, now's my chance to have a good game with somebody. That's what you need to be thinking. At the end of the day, there's nothing sexier than a man who's willing to walk away, and or a man who's willing to not even have you around. There's nothing sexy in the world than that. A guy who doesn't need you. And if you don't need these women to have a good time, eventually things will start to happen for you in that sort of general sphere. Your self-worth is a big, big thing. And it's something that I try to work on the channel all the time. Women, and I will say this later on in the video, women love us for things that are beyond looks. Looks are generally an advantage, sure, but they're the kind of like when you're applying for a job and they say experience is preferred but not essential. It's kind of the same thing. You know, looks are preferred, but they're in no way essential. And if they are essential, you don't want to be going out with a woman who's that shallow anyway, because that's not the natural order of things. I will talk about that a lot in this video, the natural order of things, and I know it's going to rub people up the wrong way, but, you know, screw it. I believe there is a natural order to things, and I think that the natural order to things in terms of, and I don't mean in that, you know, you're not allowed to be gay or this, that, and the other. I don't get that at all. You can do whatever you want. You can be in love with whoever you want. You can do whatever you want. What I'm saying is that there are certain ticks that people find attractive, and there are certain ways that people find everybody attractive all of the time. You know, people can fall on a range of things that they find attractive, but it's kind of like one of those charts where you see things overlapping. There are certain things that will always overlap in terms of what women find attractive, right? And one of them is personality. And when I say personality, I don't mean like just be yourself. No. If you've ever been told the advice, just be yourself, I bet you got that from a woman. It's nonsense, right? You need to have self-worth. You cannot go around building up castles and then trying to kick somebody else's over. You need to make sure that you are on a solid foundation before you try and invite anybody else into your life. The main way to do that, take a long, hard look at yourself in the mirror and realise your shortcomings. Okay? Are you a bit overweight? Does your beard not grow properly? You know, do you smell a bit? Do you not have great hygiene? Do you stammer when you're talking? I stammer, right? Do you stammer when you're talking, when you're nervous? Do you get tongue-tied? You're not able to get things out of your system when you're talking and things like that. There are ways and means to go about annihilating every single one of these problems, and each and every single one of them will add to your self-worth. If you need to get to the gym to sort yourself out, go to the gym. If you don't like the gym, go for a walk. Go for a walk. Don't even run, just go for a walk. I've lost weight by walking, right? I've lost a serious amount of weight just by walking. Eating right and walking. Fair enough. I've lost copious amounts of weight doing that. Everybody's body is different, so, you know, don't be... Again, I get this all the time when people say, I can't do that because my body's this, my body's that. Dude, listen, you need to be able to take responsibility for yourself. I'm going to give you advice, but you need to be able to find something in that advice and make it work for you. I can't hold your hand. I can't pull your pants down while you're going to potty, right? You've got to go for yourself. You've got to get your own dick out and go for a piss yourself. I can tell you where the toilet is, but I can't hold it for you, right? In general. So, self-worth comes in all of those very myriad different forms. There can be looks, it can be things like that. What I'm going to tell you now, though, is, again, I just said it earlier on in the video, and it's the main thing that I wish I was told years ago. Right? If you take nothing else away from this video, take this. Women like us for more than looks. They like personality. They like righteous confidence. Now, do you know when people say arrogance against confidence, right? You want to be confident, but not arrogant. When people say that, that's bullshit. Take that away. Don't want to listen to that. That's nonsense. It's not confidence versus arrogance. It's righteousness versus arrogance. You need to walk into a room and believe in your soul that you are the shit. Even if deep down you're lying to yourself because you hate yourself, you need to walk into that room and have a really, really solid foundation of, I'm the fucking bee's knees. I'm great. You're not arrogant, but you're righteous about it. You're righteous about the fact that you have good friends, and you're there to have a good time with your friends. I'm telling you now, if Henry Cavill walks into a bar in a normal jumper, hangdog expression, walks in a bit, oh, you're right, yeah, you know, a bit boring, a bit inwards of himself, or he's just like not bothered because he's so good looking that he can get a woman anyway, right? And then you walk in, dressed nicely in a nice shirt, good style, smelling nice, well groomed, and you have friends around you who can't get enough of you, who are like, hey man, you know, this is really cool, and you go in there, you're talking, you're laughing, you're casting it about, and you're having a little look at the girls in there, and you're like smiling at them and then going back to talking about what you're talking about with the boys. You are more attractive to a woman than Henry is. I don't care if you're a 4 out of 10. Every woman in that place is looking directly at you. Why? Because you're righteous about the fact that you have that inner confidence. You don't need them. You don't need them. You're there and you don't need them to have a good time. You just don't. You're there, you have the confidence, you are centered in your own self, you know exactly what you want, you know exactly what you're out there for, and people, not just women, will gravitate to somebody like that. It's a natural human response to an animal, charismatic guy like that, right? Men will want you to lead them, and women will want you to lead them to the bedroom. That is exactly how these things go. Henry will go home with somebody, don't get me wrong, he's good looking, that gets you in 9 times out of 10. Good looking is still good looking. Let's not put women on pedestals, right? They're just as susceptible as us to a cute person. But the really cool thing about women is that unlike men, it must be brutal for women when they go out and if they're not that good looking, because men are very visual, are extremely visual. We are very much, you've got to be hot. You've got to be hot or we're probably not interested in you when we go out and we're having a good time or doing whatever. We're just not. And that sucks. I wish it was different, but it isn't. Like we literally need to be attracted to you first, and then you harangue us in with your personality if you're a woman. With a man, it's terrible that way. With a woman, you can get in as a decent looking bloke or a average looking bloke, or even a bloke who's not that good looking. I've seen some Gollum looking guys, and I mean that. I mean Gollum level guys go out with women who are, let's be chauvinistic and say on the scale of 1 to 10, 7s or 8s. I've seen some 2s or 3s in dudes go out with 7s and 8s. Simply because they have that righteous confidence in who they are. They've got a decent job. They've got a decent life. They make sure that they've got their own shit handled. And so they don't need a woman to give them their self-worth. They've given themselves their self-worth, which is why I'm linking it back to my first point, right? If you need to go to the gym, go to the gym. If you need a pep talk, talk to one of your bros. If you need to go out for a run or a walk, do that and eat well, eat properly, and make sure that you're not growing in stature, that you're putting good stuff into your body. If you need self-help books, go and read the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. If you need help. That is an amazing book that every man needs to read. Every man needs to read the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Go find it, go read it, go digest it, you'll love it, right? And there are other things out there. Stoicism is an amazing thing for a man. It is a thing that I believe most strong men are built on Stoic values. Go out there and go and find some books on Stoicism. Go and read them. Go and improve yourself and get yourself in a good headspace. And if all of that fails, go and get therapy. It's what I did. I had to go on the NHS in the end, and then eventually I said, sod this, and I went private. I got myself a private therapist who gave me a good price, and I got to do my first couple of sessions for free, so that we figured out whether I was the right one for him, and whether he was the right one for me. And when it worked out, he's helped me so much over the past year and a bit, knowing myself, knowing where my blind spots are, knowing where the parts of my personality are that need to be filed down a little bit, knowing what I need to do to improve myself, because at the end of the day, guys, we're men. We want tools to improve ourselves. We don't want wishy-washy bullshit. When I was in the States, I was set up with this terrible therapist who was just asking me tons of questions without giving me any solid answers. Now, I know that therapists are meant to ask you questions, at least initially, to get to know you and what your problems are, but this went on for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks without him actually giving me any sort of solid tools to start handling my issues. With my guy, Ryan, who's my therapist, literally 3 weeks in, he stopped me and said, right, I'm ready to go. Let's go. Let's do therapy right now. He literally called me, like, because he recorded what I was saying in our sessions. He went away and he listened to it, and he listened to it again and again and again. And he finally said, I'm ready to charge you, right? Because I think I can help you. I said, okay, fair enough. I went, and he said, don't accept my charge until you're happy with how the session went. I did my first session with him. I cried a lot. I let a lot out. I figured out a lot of stuff about myself. I was there for 3 hours. I was only supposed to be there for 1. I was there for 3 hours. I staggered out of there, and I wired the money the next day saying, I'll see you next week, motherfucker. And I've been there every single week. Even online, we talk all the time. Get yourself a therapist, dude. Even if you've got to go private. Most of them will do 1 session with you for free. And if they like you, they will probably give you more than that, if they seriously think that they can help. So, that's what I suggest. If you need to work on yourself, build that self-worth. Get that foundation level in place. And I bet you, the women listening to this who don't even know what I look like, right? Now that I've said all that, and they know what a decent footing I'm on, I bet you, if I was a 5 to them mentally, now I'm like a 7 or an 8. That's just how it works. That's just how it works, guys. You are instantly more attractive the minute you are standing on solid foundations. When you don't need her, you are instantly more attractive. Self-worth, give it a try. And if you need it, come onto the Discord and talk to me. We're all there. Come and have a word with us. Righteousness versus arrogance, though. Just returning to that for a minute. Righteousness versus arrogance. Arrogance is going in with the wrong intention. Normally, people who are arrogant are going in to want to get laid. And arrogance is somewhere that will get you a little bit in life, because not a lot of people can tell the difference between righteousness and arrogance. A lot of people can't tell the difference. The problem is that arrogance is skin deep. It's shallow, right? It's kind of like look at, let's say, Skyrim and The Witcher. Bang, segue, right? Skyrim, The Witcher. Arrogance is Skyrim. It looks great, it plays great, but if you try and dig away at the surface, there's nothing there. It's shallow, right? It's very easy to break the immersion, unless you're really role-playing it, and you're meeting it more than halfway. It's very easy to break the immersion there. Righteousness is The Witcher. It's deep. It's real. You can touch it. You can feel it. You can smell it. It's there. You know if you poke down underneath, you're going to find exactly the same thing there as you find on the surface. And it is longer lasting. Women have 2 stages of attraction, right? The first one is short stage attraction. And that is things like, they will think about, what does he look like? Does he have charm? Is he a good flirt? Is he good in bed? Is he, does he take me out on nice dates? That's short-term attraction. And those are things where if you're a nerd and you're anything like most of the nerds I know, you're probably not, don't take this the wrong way, but you're probably not going to be operating on that level very much, right? But the high-quality women out there, and there are tons of them, will start operating at a very young age, maybe about 23 or above. They will start operating on what I like to call long-term attraction. And what long-term attraction is, does he have a personality that sets my mind on fire? Does he take the piss out of me in a good way? Like, is he scared of me? Or will he actually come and, give it me back? Can I talk to him about life, the universe, and everything? Does he have a brain? Is he intelligent? Is he responsible? Does he have a decent job? Is he being able to keep it for a while? Is he driven in what he wants to do in life and where he wants to be? And does he, take this in mind, does he look at me in that way? What's that way? And this is the level you will all be operating on, because anybody can do this long-term one. It means looking at you with righteous self-worth. I want you in my life, but I don't fucking need you in my life. I want you here. Here's the thing, and this one's for the girls, right? With men, sometimes it's better to be liked than loved. Because love with men can lead to some very complicated and negative things. It means they're infatuated with you. It means that they want to be around you all the time. It means that they can't stand to lose you. But if a guy likes you, like, I like my friends, right? I like my friends, and I want to spend time with my friends because I really like them. I could marry one of my friends easily if they were female. I could marry one of them. In fact, I probably would marry one of my female friends if the opportunity ever arose. I would, because I like being around them. But if I loved them, that's different for a man than it is for a woman, right? And male love is very destructive and very self-destructive. Unfortunately, it just is. True love from a male point of view, I hate using those words, but true love from a male point of view is that they're your friend first. They look at you as an equal and a friend first. Everything else comes separately afterwards, right? That's just how male love works. Just a little segue there before I get back into what I was talking about. So long-term attraction is something that you can all do. You can all do those things. If you need to rewind it, go and rewind it. But you can all do those things. You have that righteous indignation of how cool of a person you are and how much you believe the fact that I'm cool, man. I'm good. And I'm going to go out there and talk to these women and have a really good time. You believe that in your core. It's part of your core value that I'm here to have a good time with my friends. I've got a good job, a good life. And even if I don't have those things, I'm going to work my ass off until I get them. Because I know I'm the kind of guy who will go out and do that shit. I'm not going to sit at home and wallow. I'm going to go out and get that stuff, right? That is righteous self-worth. And that is more attractive than the most good-looking guy in any room. It just is. And the guys who tell you it isn't are the same guys they're like crabs in a bucket, man. You try and climb your way out of that bucket, they're the same guys who'll try and pull you down. I can already see some of them going to be in the comments of this video. They will try and pull you down. They don't want you leaving the bucket, because that means you're getting ahead of them. They will try and sap down your confidence. There is nothing a coward loves more than when a brave man fails. Always remember that. Have you ever had that friend that when you go out to a bar and you're trying to like talk to women and stuff, and then you go over and it doesn't quite work out? You go over to a woman, you talk to her, it doesn't work out, you come back, and then he takes the piss out of you like, that didn't work out, did it? Right? This happened to me once in a pub that I was working in Liverpool. And my friend there, who was generally, not very good with women, and he said exactly that. He said, that didn't go very well, did it? You should just learn. He said, you should just learn. And I was so pissed off with him. I cut him off and said, I said, I should just learn to do what, mate? Stand here and not do anything like you? Like, I will approach women and sometimes it doesn't work out. But sometimes it does. What do you want me to do? Stand here like you and do fuck all, as per usual? No, I'm not going to do that. I have a pair of balls, thank you. I just shut him up straight. Just shut him straight down. There'll be people like that in the comment section who will say, guys, this doesn't work. No, yes, it fucking does. Yes, it does. Because there will be girls in the comment section down below saying, yeah, I would find that guy attractive. I've never had a woman, whenever I've said anything like this, go, nah, it doesn't work. It fucking does work. It does work, guys. It does work. So, moving on. Now I've buttered the women up a little bit. I'm going to say something that's going to get me a lot of hate. Guys, never, ever, never, 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 never listen to a woman when it comes to dating advice on how to date other women. They don't know what they want. Have I just blown up my own last point? Yeah. But at the same time, a lot of the women that I speak to, when I speak to them about this kind of thing, they do nod along and go, actually, yeah, I would find that guy attractive if they're being honest, right? But a woman would never give you the advice I've just given you. They'll say, just be yourself. Just be yourself, right? That's what they'll say. Never, ever, ever listen to what a woman has to say when it comes to dating other women. All right? The same thing goes for listening to gay men if you're a gay man. You don't ask the enemy what their plans are. They aren't going to tell you, right? If you're a gay guy, speak to your straight dude friends on what they like and how they like to be approached. You're going to get clean, undoctored, black and white advice, and men are not that complicated or different, even if they have different sexualities. What works for one will work for many, right? Same goes for straight dudes. Talk to other straight dudes if you're looking for women, right? Do not talk to women about dating advice. Right? Alright. Dudes may be competing for the same women, but your bros will not lead you wrong, and if they do, their advice is normally awful enough to spot, and it's not good or genuine, right? It's easy enough to spot. Play with the devil you know. Guys, do not ask women for dating advice. As I said before, ever had the just be yourself line? Yeah, I bet you heard that from a woman. No man says that. No man ever says that. Female advice when dating leads to one thing for straight men: the friend zone. And yes, it does exist, right? The myth of it is that there's no way out of it. There's tons of ways out of the friend zone, right? But it does exist. Most women don't have a killer instinct when it comes to mating. They just don't. They don't have that killer instinct because they're the passive ones in this exchange, right? And none of them know what it's like to have a man's animal nature or how to use it to attract women. Dude, we are all filthy, big balls animals. We are there to fuck. That's literally what our brains are telling us to do all the time. Fuck, 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 fuck. Like, all the time. That's all that's on our brains all the time when we're out. We're looking around going, right? It's all subconscious. That's what people don't understand. People go, well, I don't do that. Yes, you do. It's subconscious, dude. You are doing it. Your body is reacting. When you go out, have you ever noticed that you start having a better time if there's a woman in the group that you're there to talk to? Have you ever noticed that? That's because your body is sending endorphins around your system to try and attract that woman. It's pushing you to attract that woman, to go and get her into bed, basically. That's what you're there to do, right? You are there to mate. That is there as a man. Your only sole thing in this world is to make sure that your genetic material beats everybody else's genetic material and is carried on to the next generation. That's how life works. That's how evolution works. That's how wildlife works. And yes, we are a part of it. As much as modern SJWs would like to tell you that we're not, yes, we are, I'm afraid. We're all animals. The same as bears. The same as lions. Same as everything. We're exactly the same, right? We just try and pretend that we're not. So why shouldn't you ask a woman what to do about dating? Well, it's like... Let's imagine you're a bear. Let's run with that analogy. It's like you're a bear, and you're asking a salmon how to catch other salmon. You wouldn't, would you? Because they wouldn't tell you. Most women don't know what it's like to face constant rejection when trying to find a partner. That's the black and white truth of the world. Most of them don't know what it's like to find rejection when trying to find a partner near constantly. That's just how it is. So why would you ask one to find a partner when you face constant rejection? Why would you ask somebody who doesn't know anything about it? The stakes are not as high for them in the dating game as they are for you. Long term, maybe they are, because they have a biological clock. But long term, guys, it doesn't matter how old a woman is, there will always be a guy who wants to fuck her. There will you could have an average woman walk into a bar and say, "Who wants to fuck me?" Every guy in there, and even the ones who are in relationships will go, "Yeah, I'll do it." If they know they'll get away with it, but yeah, I'll do it. That's just how it is. Do not ask women for dating advice. Because what you're going to get is, just be yourself. Or even worse, you'll get sabotaging stuff because they want you to themselves because you're a high value man. Look in the mirror. You're high value. That's why you're watching this video, guys. You're watching this video because you're a high value man who's just scraping the dust off of that diamond. You're just about learning to do that. This video is the first step in doing that. If you clicked on this video because you find it interesting, because you want to be that guy, you're already a high value man. Right? It's the guys who don't watch shit like this. It's the guys who don't bother wanting to better themselves. Those are the low-value men. You're already a high-value man. So they want you to themselves. Do not ask a woman how to go and date other women. Because most of them don't know what the fuck they want anyway. Moving on. Be a king and make her a queen. Right. Here's another controversial thing. But I like to use this analogy about what I'm talking about. It's an analogy that Patrice O'Neill used to use back in the day. In England, when the Queen marries a guy, what does he become? He doesn't become the king. He becomes the prince consort. That's just what it is, right? When the king marries a woman, what does she become? Yeah, she becomes the queen, doesn't she? Right. That's because there is an unpopular natural order in the world, a natural way of doing things. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't a one-size-fits-all argument, but it will fit most of the people in this room that I know of. I know of some amazingly strong women who still like men who do this. In fact, most of them do, because most strong women are able to admit this to themselves and still have badass careers where they outperform men in every metric, right? And still, you know, but they are still able to admit this kind of thing. My mother is one of them, by the way. My mother is a strong-ass woman. My mother's a pimp, right? Do you want to know the reason? And we figured this out. We figured this out in therapy, right? I'm going to let you in on something that's really, really close and dear and near to me that I found out a couple of weeks ago. I've always been okay with women, right? I've always been okay with getting them either into bed or into a relationship or whatever, right? That's all. I'm not saying that as a big-headed thing, because 9 times out of 10 it's come back and bit me on the arse, because it taught me all of the wrong things to do in life. I was such a fucking dickhead earlier on in my life, and it really ruined a lot of relationships and a lot of my opinion on most women. And I wish to God that I was like some of the other guys I know who didn't have quite as high a body count, but they are very, very attractive and they've never lost it. I've always gone feast and famine, really. I've always had purple patches where I can't get them away from me, and I've had negative patches where I've had nothing for perhaps like 8-9 months or a year, where I'm like, my self-confidence is shot, where I've got friends who always have 2 or 3 girlfriends a year that they're banging the shit out of, that they get tired of, or the relationship goes away and then they move on to the next one. But women are always around them. Why? Because they have a natural self-confidence. They have that natural self-worth that I didn't have, because I could talk the talk, but in a relationship, I couldn't walk the walk. Now, we figured out a reason for that, right? We figured out a reason for why I had this raw thing that I was able to do. One was my grandpa, and my grandpa won't mind me saying this. We did an analogy, well, Ryan did an analogy. He said, women are like a bank that you're trying to crack into, right? Let's call it that as an analogy. What your grandpa is, because my grandpa essentially brought me up because my dad wasn't around. Go figure. You know, the way I've been talking about women, go figure. My dad wasn't around. But my grandpa brought me up. And my grandpa is what my therapist describes as a master bank robber. He's a guy who can go in and he tells me how to case the joint. He tells me how to handle the people inside. He tells me how to get the money out of the till. He tells me what getaway drivers are good and what cars I should use to get the hell out of there. He's a very good bank robber, right? What my mum is, and this is every man has one of those bank robbers in somewhere in their life. What my mum is the person sitting behind the till giving me the keys to the fucking safe. That's how cool my mum is, right? She's a fucking pimp. She's had dudes literally wrapped around her little finger since she was about 17. She knows how to make them. She knows how to break them. She is a ball breaker in a good way. She's been out with some really, really high quality men, right? Until she settled down with the right one. And eventually, one of them wasn't my dad. She split up with my dad when I was younger. And eventually, she met a guy and got married and whole 9 yards. And you know what that guy is? He's a fucking builder. He's a builder. But he goes out and he handles his business. He handles his shit. And he has this really core inner self-confidence and self-worth that just attracted her to him straight away. She was like, this is the guy. This is the guy right here, right? And this is a woman who has taken some really high-value men and said, you know what, you're not for me. She broke so many hearts over the years that you're not for me. And then finally she gets with this guy and is like, this is the guy. And this guy's nowhere near as good looking as the guy she was going out with when she was younger. Nowhere near. But he was of high value, high self-worth. And by the way, she is a high-value woman. My mum is one of the most high-value women you will come across. She works hard. She has an amazing sense of humour. All of my friends think she's gorgeous. Like, literally all of my friends want to fuck my mum. It's weird. It's horrible, right? But, like, they just do. They just find her gorgeous. They want to sleep with her, right? Now, she has all of those things going for her, right? And she chose a man who was, quote-unquote, below her in the look stakes and below her in the working stakes. Why? Because she wants to be a queen. She doesn't want a prince consort. She doesn't want to be the person who's wearing the pants. She doesn't want to be the person bringing in the higher paycheck. She doesn't want to be the person who's having to take care of everything like she's a fucking mother again, because she's done that. She's had kids. They're gone. She wants a king. She wants a guy there to handle his fucking shit and to be there to look out for her. There's nothing more attractive to a woman than a man who handles his own shit and doesn't need her. That's the unpopular natural order. And when you listen to feminists and things like that, women don't want to be your mother. They want leaders, even if they don't think they want to be led. They need a rock, guys, not sand. Handle your business. Show you can take care of them and even kids if you're both going to be working. Get out there, handle your shit. If you can show a woman that you have self-esteem, self-worth, and you handle your fucking business, that is more attractive to a woman than looks or even charm. If you can do all of that, she will want to be the submissive one in the relationship. She will want to be that person. You'll bring that out of her. She'll want to be the sub. She'll want to be led around. She'll want you to take the lead because you've shown what you can do. That's why women give you bitch tests. Women give you bitch tests all the time without you even thinking that that's what they're doing. They do it subconsciously as well. They don't consciously sit there and say, I'm going to break this motherfucker down and see if he can handle it. They subconsciously test you. They do it all of the time. They do it through their attitude, they do it through what they demand, they do it through, or they push you and push you and push you to see if they can get a reaction. And most of them are doing it subconsciously. They're not terrible people for doing this, it's just a natural thing that they do, right? I know because I've come across it many times. And I failed it many times when I was younger, because I didn't want to put up with it, so I just let them go. Say, see you later, bye. Do you know what you need to do? If a woman is testing you, right? And you're going to argue the point. Repeat back to her what she just said, and then say, why? Explain. That will win you 9 arguments out of 10. You know why? And here's another thing that I'm going to be hated for. Men are based in logic. Women are based in emotion. It just is what it is. It just is what it is. Now, some men will be based in emotion, and some women will be based in logic. So don't think that, oh my god, no. Most men are based in logic, and most women are based in emotion. Most of the arguments that I've had with women over the years have been stuff where they will have an opinion that's based on emotion. They will have an opinion about me and what I should be doing in the relationship that's based on emotion and not logic. But as soon as I say, why? Explain it. Explain to me. Explain it, go on. Do you know what they start with? Well, I feel... No, I don't care. I don't care about how you feel. Like, that's not what we're talking about. We're building a future together. I don't care how you feel. Tell me why it works, logically. Tell me what you think, what you're thinking is logical. Please tell me. 9 times out of 10 they can't, and you automatically win the argument. Automatically. Right? It's the unpopular natural order. Is that you want to lead. You naturally want to be the leader in a relationship. That doesn't mean she can't go out and work. Dude, let her go out. Let her do her own thing. Strong women are awesome. But the strongest women I know have gone and found men that take the lead. Because they're comfortable in their own badass femininity. To sit there and go, you got this, bro. You got this, baby. You go out and you do that shit. You got this. I'm going to go work over here and do my job, but Jesus, you're so fucking amazing. Go and do your thing. Go and do your thing, and I'll go do my thing. That's a strong woman. That's a strong woman. A strong woman doesn't want to pull you down so that you're the same. A strong woman wants to build you up so you can hoist her up with you. That's what a strong woman is. That's what a strong woman is. And if you don't believe that, have fun being alone. As a man and a woman, have fun being alone or being in toxic relationships for the rest of your life. Have fun. I wish you all the best. But you should both work, even as I just said, even if it's at different times, you can both work and do all these things. You know, I'm going into the pedantics of it now, really, rather than doing anything else. But don't you dare sit at home, guys, doing nothing. There is nothing that is less attractive to a woman. Put on your big boy pants and go out there and kick the world squarely in the jaw. The last thing, and I've pointed at it once before, don't need them. have things in your own life, right? A friend of mine called John, he lives on his own. He's got a kid, lives on his own, and he was going on and on and on for ages about how he couldn't find a woman, right? I know, because I tell him all the time, this woman's interested in you, this woman... They come to me like I'm his fucking PA, you know? Like, oh, is he available? Is he this? Is he that? I say that to him all the time. Do you know why? Because he's got his own self-worth now. He's worked at it, and he's in a really stable place. He's got his kid, he's got his house, he's got his job, and he doesn't need a fucking woman. He's even told me, I'm not interested in getting married or having a woman living here. I'm fine, thank you very much. And do you know what? Now they want him. Now they want him. Because there is no desperation to this man. There's nothing. There's nothing for them to grab onto and say, this isn't quite right. He doesn't need them. Do you know why? Because he's a fucking leader now. He's a king. And he's a king who's ready to make a queen. That's what he is. And that's what I want you to be. Alright? Good. There's your pep talk. I love you all long time. My God, we're at 40 minutes. I love you all long time. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I will speak to you next time. We'll be doing a little bit more advice. We'll see what Patreon has to say about what we're going to be covering next. If you want your say, then get in the description down below. Patreon is down below, and talk to me about what you want to see on the next advice part of the video. And I will be seeing you next week. Love you all long time. See you later. Have a good one.